Today's the day. Not only are we fighting for justice, but the fate of the Netherworld as well.
And it's all on your shoulders. Better not screw it up.
Edna, would you for once take things seriously?
I'm feeling nervous, but we can trust you. Can't we, Mr. Wright?
Of course you can. Didn't you say that Lamington handpicked the best man for the job?
That's true.
I have some new guidelines to go by now, and actual evidence. We have a fighting chance.
Ah, there you are!
Your Honor? What did you need?
I know I don't normally talk to you before the trials, but I thought I should say something inspiring. But I think I forgot what it was. In any case, good luck!
Oh, thank you, Your Honor.
Think nothing of it. Now you must excuse me.
Well, at least it helped encourage me somewhat.
I see you have showed up. You know, there's no prolonging the inevitable this time. You can't escape.
Save it for the courtroom, Miss Prava. I know that this is the last day of the trial. I've read the law book.
So you've done some proper preparing this time. I'd give you kudos if it wasn't elementary.
There is something very confusing about your attitude, Miss Prava, and I've been wanting to ask you. What do you fight for?
Me? I fight so that whoever committed the murder of Ambassador Caliga is brought to justice. And you, Mr. Wright, are the opponent who wishes to protect the guilty from the arm of law. It all ends today. What happens afterwards concerns me not, apart from your own trial.
What is she talking about?
I'll tell you about it some other time.
Would the prosecution and the defense proceed to the courtroom?
And so the bell tolled. Our duel shall begin.
All right, go get her, Mr. Wright.
Good luck. I pray for your success.
Anyone want me to get some popcorn? I think there's a stand outside.
Here we go. Time for the battle to begin.
The Supreme Court of the Netherworld is now back in session for the trial of Lahar Kuchevskoy. Today we are to determine whether there is a reason to believe that someone else might have committed the act. Is the prosecution ready?
To condemn, yes. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
Quite. Is the defense ready?
The defense is ready. To defend, Your Honor.
Very well then. I am ready to judge as well. The prosecution may present its opening statement.
And so we shall. As the court may recall, last time we left off with the defense wishing to cast suspicion on Flan the maid. In the light of new evidence, the prosecution has to acknowledge that there were several flaws in the initial investigation. However, this is a matter that will have to be looked into later. Most importantly, the cause of death has been redetermined as a solenoid poisoning. Solenoid, more commonly known as angelbane, is a powerful poison made from the extract of a plant native only to Celestia. Due to this nature, the Celestian High Council has made sure it doesn't grow in the wild. Only a couple of plants are kept for conservation and study purposes. Thus, the poison is almost impossible to acquire. The Celestians are currently performing an internal investigation on the matter, but that is not of our concern right now. Obviously, this raises the question, how did our killer get the poison, and how and when was it administered? Naturally, the prosecution has a theory to answer this, and to prove beyond all doubt the identity of our killer, once and for all. First of all, the poison used in the murder points to strong Celestian connections, which anyone with half a brain cell can deduce based on the information the prosecution has presented. Flann is a native Celestian and also in the favor of Seraph Lamington, ruler of Celestia. She was more than able to get her hands on cyanide through such high connections. She was also working at the scene of the crime, providing both the means and the opportunity to poison the ambassador. And, as Mr. Wright stated earlier, she, as the Overlord's close friend, has access to the armory and treasury complex. The sole guard of the complex is reported being knocked out by an identified assailant on the day of the murder. The reported time of attack was a little before Ms. Flann usually leaves for work. Despite her claims of being innocent throughout questioning, all our evidence points to her. It is likely that her motive was to frame the Overlord and seize the throne for herself.
Objection!
According to the defendant, she was working in the laundry area when the actual murder took place. That would give her a watertight alibi, wouldn't you agree?
It certainly would. Except for the fact that the prosecution has a witness who saw her leave the crime scene on the day of the murder.
What? Where did this come from all of a sudden?
Your Honor, the prosecution calls the manager of the hotel to the stand.
Very well. Let the witness take the stand.
Witness, state your name and occupation.
Oh, how I've been waiting for this moment. Allow me to introduce myself. I am an aristocrat of both strength and beauty. They call moi the Dark Adonis. My name is
You are the current manager of Gatewater Hotel Netherworld, correct?
Yes, but...
Then that's all the info we need.
Wait, surely I must be allowed to say my name.
There is no room for flamboyant introductions in a court of law, Mr. Mid-Boss.
That's not my real name.
That's not relevant. What is relevant, though, is what you did and saw on the day of the murder, and you will testify to the court about it. Understood?
Fine, mademoiselle, as you desire. I knew right from the start we were going to have problems that day.
What do you mean you knew there were going to be problems?
Well, I would call it a disaster when a VIP guest is coming to your fine establishment and almost none of your staff show up for work. It's a disgrace. There were only 4 of us. Moi, 2 prinnies, and Flann the maid, so we had to make do. I manned the reception, waiting for l'ambassador's arrival. Meanwhile, Mademoiselle Flann worked in the kitchen, making our complimentary candies while babysitting the 2 prinnies.
Flann was making candies?
Oui, our candies are famous all over the Netherworld and Celestia too. Mademoiselle Flann is the only one who can properly operate the candy-making device. It's way more tricky than you'd think.
Most interesting.
After she was done, she brought a bowl full of fresh candy to the front desk. I then told her to go fetch the laundry baskets from the 2nd floor and start doing the laundry. We had several guests the day before and they left quite a mess. I accompanied her upstairs to help her out a little.
But wouldn't hauling the baskets downstairs take ages, even with 2 people?
Of course not. We have a laundry chute which we can use to dump all the dirty clothes way down into the basement. Helps the young mademoiselle out a lot. I think it's marked on the hotel map.
Let's take a look.
Mr. Wright, are you contemplating on changing jobs? I could use someone to clean my office.
Could a person fit down the laundry chute?
Oui, if one was fit enough and wished to break their legs from the fall.
Whatever you're theorizing, Mr. Wright, please stop.
Yeah, I didn't really have anything in mind this time.
Mademoiselle Flann then left to do the laundry and yours truly went to his office.
Why didn't you just return to the front desk? You knew the ambassador was coming.
Well, his scheduled arrival wasn't until 10 minutes later. I decided it would be good to get some important managing business out of the way.
Such as?
Brewing myself a cup of tea. I was absolutely dying to get some.
Mr. Wright, is any of this really relevant?
Of course it is! It proves that there was a 10-minute gap when nobody was at the front desk.
And?
It's an interesting fact. Just pointing it out.
Someone might have used that gap to enter the hotel, but I still need to give more thought to my theory before I pursue it.
Witness resume.
I then returned to the reception. By the time l'ambassadeur arrived, Flan was in the basement washing laundry. I bid him bienvenue and took him to his VIP suite.
Was there anything odd about the ambassador?
I suppose not. I was a little surprised by the lack of security. He seemed to be of the strong, silent type, didn't speak much. I guess he was tired.
So, what did you do after that?
I went back to my office. The hotel needs somebody to manage it after all.
I see. Where were the printies?
The kitchen.
Aha! So during this time period, nobody was attending the front desk.
Well, we weren't expecting anyone else.
The hotel records say that Ambassador Kaliga checked in at 12:17. Lahara was caught a bit after 12:30. This leaves us with about a 13-minute gap. That's 2 gaps when nobody was watching the entrance hall. Best keep this in mind.
Sometime later, I was sitting in my office when I heard a deafening kaboom from downstairs. Immediately, I rushed out of my office and from the corner of my eye managed to catch a glimpse of la petite femme de chambre, the maid, if you will, disappearing around the corner.
Wait, what? Are you sure it was Flan and not anyone else?
Oui, it was her, no doubt. After all, she was the only maid present that day.
But you never saw her face, did you?
No, but I saw the uniform.
Objection! Witness, seeing the uniform is not enough to prove it was her.
Objection! Yes, it does, Mr. Wright. Because there is only one maid uniform in the hotel. Do your homework.
Yeah! Damn it, now this is getting tricky.
Your Honor, I think pursuing this point is pointless. Flan was seen leaving the hallway that leads to the VIP suite when she was supposed to be doing laundry. She had most probably just planted the evidence needed to frame Lahara.
Are you suggesting that the ambassador was already dead by then? You insist that the ambassador was poisoned, yet you haven't presented this court an exact method.
Candy.
Huh?
The complimentary candy, sweet poison, turned to be worth its name. It all makes sense. She is in charge of making the batch of candy. With only 2 bumbling printies in the kitchen with her, she could have easily mixed poison into the candy, which she then lovingly wrapped up and placed on the pillow of the ambassador's bed when she went upstairs to get the laundry baskets. The trap had been set, and she only had to wait for the poor ambassador to taste the bittersweet, homemade death. She then used her master key to enter the room and plant the evidence, the dagger and the ring, in preparation for the overlord's arrival. Leaving the room's door ajar, she begins returning to the laundry room when the sudden boom causes the witness to look out of his office. And there we have it, the murder of Grand Ambassador Aduro Caliga, as committed by the maid, Flan. I hope this satisfies the court. Mr. Wright, I trust you have no objections to my theory?
Actually, I do.
And here we go again. What is it this time, Mr. Wright? Can't you see that I've done all the work for you? All you need to do is to accept my theory as the truth, and Overlord Lahara goes free like you wanted.
I'm not here to pursue victory. Only the truth, Miss Prava. And even if Flan is guilty, I cannot accept your theory as the truth.
Why not? It all makes sense.
There are 3 key points to this murder. The murder weapon, the items from the castle, and the identity of the person our witness saw leaving the room. You claimed your theory can prove without a doubt that Flan was the murderer. However, if I can cast enough doubt on these 3 points, your truth may not turn out to be the truth at all.
You're not even supposed to be defending her. Your Honor, Is this truly necessary?
I'm with Mr. Wright on this one. This case is too important to rush, don't you agree? We're talking about framing the Overlord after all, and as long as there's the slightest chance that she isn't guilty, we cannot pass a fair verdict. The prosecution's initial investigation certainly proved that there's no harm in double-checking.
In that case, I accept your challenge, Mr. Wright. However, if and when you fail to overturn the facts, you will accept my theory and the case ends there. Agreed?
Agreed. Let's head to the place. Time to check out her hand. Let us start with the items stolen from the castle. Miss Prava, please remind the court how and when she acquired the Overlord's ring and dagger.
Bailiff, get Captain Gordon to the stand. He shall explain the events. Name and occupation.
Captain Gordon, Defender of Earth.
And guardian of sharp and shiny things.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. Now, what's all this ruckus about?
You have been summoned to testify about your magnificent failure as a guard and a human being on the day of the murder.
Gee, that's harsh.
It'll become even harsher if you don't start testifying right now.
Yes, ma'am. It's a great responsibility to be the guardian of the treasures of the Netherworld.
How long have you been doing this?
Some couple of weeks. I tend to lose track of time, but I assure you it feels like an eternity. There's no windows down there either, so I can't tell if it's day or nighttime.
How do you pass the time?
Captain Gordon needs no entertainment to stay vigilant. I use my secret Gordon meditation technique.
In other words, you tend to sleep on the job.
It's not the same!
Captain, you will get to the point or I will have you in for obstruction of justice.
Right. On the day of the incident, I was meditating when I heard some strange noise. I quickly checked the time. It was 5 in the morning. Then I saw a cloaked figure approach me.
How did you check the time?
Why, I used my magnificent hero watch. Precise to the second.
Incidentally, what time is it now, Gordon?
Why, it's... no, that can't be.
Is there a problem?
My watch seems to have run out of batteries.
And what time does it show now?
Almost 5 a.m.
What?
Also, weren't you asleep before you woke up to see the stranger?
I was meditating!
What's important is this. Because you are positioned underground and your sleeping rhythm is off, you have no way of telling what time of day it is. Is it possible that your watch ran out of batteries while you were asleep?
Yes, it is. In fact, now that you mention it, I recall it flashing the low battery light before I began sleeping, meditating.
Gus! You incompetent buffoon! When this is over,
Look at Gordon, this probably can cut his salad. And as you can see, it was not 5 a.m. That must mean that the cloaked assailant was Overlord Laharl leaving for the hotel. In fact, he himself admitted to knocking Gordon out around noontime.
Then pray tell, what would he be doing down in the treasury?
You are probably not aware of this, but there is a secret passageway out the castle in the complex. As to why my client was cloaked, there's a simple explanation. He needed to stay undercover.
Interesting. The Sussenesque indeed had no idea of the existence of such a passage. But why would he attack his own guard?
As the old adage goes, with friends like these, who needs enemies? Miss Prava, would you trust Captain Gordon with confidential information? Wouldn't it be easier to just knock him out?
Hey! I'm still here! Actually, I'd better go.
I see where you're getting at. I shall give you the benefit of doubt. For now. However, there is a major problem with your logic. Obviously, since the ring wasn't there, it had been stolen before the guard woke up. If Flan did not take the items, and Overlord Laharl did not take the items, then how did they end up at the crime scene? Magic?
I have a theory. If the court would please pay attention to this photo taken inside the vault.
There's something unnatural about this picture.
There is?
Interesting. Would you care to point out what exactly is so unnatural?
Now, to my understanding, the ring is only ever taken out for important political events. In other words, it's not used very often. When it just sits there, it starts to gather dust.
Yes, your point being?
Think about it, Miss Prava. If you remove an item from a dusty surface, it leaves an imprint of its form. There is no such imprint on the pillow.
That's true. A curious case indeed. But what relevance does this tiny detail have?
Oh, it's very relevant. Because this, along with another piece of evidence, proves that the ring was stolen at a completely different time. Take that!
More dust? Do you find your evidence in the garbage, Mr. Wright?
Mr. Wright, you will refrain from littering the courtroom.
Actually, this pile of dust used to be a piece of jewelry, manufactured by thieving counterfeiters from a peculiar material. The jewelry is sold in the streets as discount items. However, there is one small problem. They crumble to dust after a while. That's right, Miss Prava. The dust you see is not your regular household dust. It's the remains of a fake Overlord's ring. I'm fairly sure every demon in the Netherworld roughly knows what the Overlord's ring looks like. It would be easy for a professional counterfeiter to create a replica of it. Also, our guard is no jeweler, nor is he a demon. If the real ring was to be swapped with a fake, could he tell? I doubt it.
A tall tale indeed. But there's another problem. You say that the rings were swapped. But by who? And when?
I have my suspicions. After all, there were people who had access to the vault just the day before the murder.
You can't be serious.
That's right, Miss Prava. The Cessnesk investigators who were searching for weapons of mass destruction had a perfect chance to switch the real ring to a fake one.
Objection! How dare you accuse members of impartial law enforcement? You best have some really hard evidence to back that up.
As a matter of fact, I don't.
Ha! That's what I thought. And here you have been wasting the court's time with your delusions. Your Honor, Mr. Wright's previous conjecture has been going on far enough already, getting completely absurd and should be stricken from the record.
Damn it! I'm definitely onto something here. But with no concrete proof, there's little I can do.
To clear up the misunderstanding, the prosecution suggests that Flan went to the armory before leaving for work, stole the dagger and the ring while the incompetent guardsman was asleep. Once he woke up, he mistook the time and was attacked by the disguised Overlord. This explains why he only reported seeing one person down there. Makes a lot more sense and is much more likely.
Miss Prava, as much sense as your story seems to make, you are disregarding what I just pointed out. Can you provide the court with a rational explanation for the lack of an imprint in the dust? Miss Prava, do you have an explanation?
I don't.
Yeah. What point to fix?
However, I remind the court that in a larger scope, this tiny detail has little meaning on its own.
Little things tend to add up, Miss Prava. Let's see how many we can find. I believe we're done with the stolen items. Next is the case of the murder weapon.
Surely you aren't going to suggest that the murder weapon was something other than the candy?
No, I agree with that.
Then why bother arguing in the first place? Flan is the only one who could have made the candy, thus the only one who could have slipped in the poison.
Not quite. I propose that the batch of candy that Flan made wasn't poisoned at all.
Then tell me, Mr. Wright, are you suggesting that Ambassador Callagher just decided to have a sip of solenoid to go with the candy, and then somebody just happened to come in with the Overlord's ring and the dagger and plant them on his corpse just for the hell of it?
There's a simple way to prove my theory. We could check the equipment for solenoid residue.
Oh, Mr. Wright, the look on your face when you get excited for naught. It's truly priceless.
What do you mean?
You are aware of the nature of the candies, correct? They go bad after a single day. This also applies to the mix used to make them. Therefore, the machinery must be thoroughly cleaned after every use. Any residue there might have been is gone. If that was your big turnabout, I'd say this case is closed.
That's not the only way we can prove that the candies weren't poisoned. Let's recap. You say that the entire batch of candy was poisoned.
Yes. One of the properties of solenoid is that it becomes harmless when in prolonged contact with oxygen. She had to mix the poison in while making the candy to keep its potency.
Miss Prava, what happened to all the candy in the front desk bowl? As you can recall, Mr. Midboss testified that Flan filled the bowl that very morning. Wouldn't every candy in it be poisonous?
They certainly would, each strong enough to kill a powerful Celestian.
What about a demon? Even if it's called Angel Bane, I assume it's deadly to demons as well.
Correct. What's your point?
There was no candy when your squad took over the hotel. And let me tell you why. It had all been eaten by the Overlord!
Impossible! Nobody could survive that amount of toxin!
And yet, the Overlord lives and breathes like nothing ever happened. Didn't even get a sore stomach!
Can you prove your claim at all?
The burden of proof lies with you, Miss Prava. It's your theory that the candy Flan made was used to kill Mr. Kaliga. Yet it fails to explain what happened to the rest of the batch. She didn't have much time to act between the murder and the Cessness team's arrival. And the candies could not have been hidden inside the hotel or in its vicinity, because the stench would have given their hiding place away days ago.
Nice of you to point that contradiction out. However, I can explain what happened.
What?
It's simple, really. Let's say that after she was seen leaving the hallway, she dashed down to the lobby, stuffed the remaining candy in her dress pockets, and went back to the basement, where she could easily flush down all the poisonous candies in peace, without the fear of anyone ever finding them. Why bring them into the front desk in the first place? It was not to seem suspicious, a calculated risk. Does that satisfy you?
Curses! So close!
Besides, that little loophole doesn't change the fact that only Flan had the access to both the poison and the device used to create the candy.
Not necessarily. There's a place right next to the hotel that had both the means to get the poison and the device to create the candy. The Cessness headquarters, to be precise.
I can understand that you are not too happy about us making your life miserable, but please, we are in a court of law. This is no place for petty grudges.
Look who's talking! No, I'm quite serious. I would imagine that Cessness has high Celestian connections as well. Surely you could obtain a sample of Solenoid if requested, right?
Yes, we could, but we are not a candy boutique. Nor are we assassins!
Yet, according to this file, your bureau recently bought a rather expensive device for making candy.
Where did you get that?
I have my sources. This is non-confidential information, so there shouldn't be a problem.
So, someone in the bureau has a sweet tooth.
I think we both know that there's no way you could write that off as an insignificant coincidence, Miss Prava. The poisonous candy may have been manufactured with the device that is officially Cessness property.
That is the most audacious claim that I have ever heard in my life!
I'm only pointing out the possibility created by the new fact. Let's say that a turncoat member of your bureau managed to steal the items from the Treasury complex a day earlier. They could have also prepared the poisonous candy with the equipment somewhere in the Cessness headquarters, which is located right next to the hotel, isn't it?
This is pure conjecture! Conjecture!
Score 2 for Phoenix. Time for the final round.
That takes us to the final element of this murder.
I believe we can safely conclude that whoever was seen leaving the scene of the crime is our culprit. After all, there's no other logical reason why anyone would be in the hallway with a possibly stolen uniform.
Are you proposing somebody stole the uniform right off her back? An amusing idea.
Not quite if she took it off voluntarily.
Mr. Wright, what is going on in your head? You will stop with these lewd suggestions.
I didn't mean it to sound ambiguous like that. Let me explain. The defenses established the possibility of a third, yet unknown party committing the murder. Someone was seen wearing Flawn's uniform, but did she ever take it off? The answer is yes. Whenever she does the laundry, she has to put on a special protective gear and hang her uniform outside the actual laundry room. After telling Flawn to go do her scheduled laundry, Mid-Boss leaves for his office. Nobody's watching over the hotel lobby at the time. This is when our killer enters and goes to the laundry to steal the keys and the uniform from the quarantine area. The killer already had the items from the castle and the pre-made poison candy ready. This was a premeditated murder, after all. After acquiring the keys and the uniform, they go upstairs in order to swap the two candies. After that, our killer goes into hiding, most likely around the corner. Mid-Boss leaves for the lobby to welcome Ambassador Kaliga and take him to his room. After being left alone, he has a taste of the hotel's famous candy. It turns out to be more bitter than expected, so he quickly orders a cup of tea just before his death. Our killer moves in to plant the evidence pointing to the Overlord's Guild. However, when they are leaving, boom! Two Prinnies manage to brew tea in a rather explosive way. This causes the manager to look out the door, where they spot the killer leaving, and then...
Did you notice the problem as well? If there was this third mystery person, they would have to rush back down to the basement, leave the uniform and escape in a short time frame. I'm sure a foreign person would have been spotted by the manager, who was at the hallway. A simpler explanation is that Flawn ran down the stairs and waited for the manager to pass her by before going to man the front desk.
But she said she saw the manager yell at the Prinnies when she was coming from the laundry.
She could just be lying to cover actions. She knew about it because she overheard the argument. So, can you explain how your mystery killer disposed of the uniform?
How did the uniform get back to the quarantine room? Aha! Your Honor, the witness never did specify which corner he saw the maid turn around in his testimony. This is a critical detail the court needs to know.
Honestly, I really fail to see the point in this, Your Honor.
In a court of law, we need information with as much detail as possible in order to reach the right verdict. Therefore, the witness will amend his testimony.
Mon Dieu, what is this?
This court needs you to amend your testimony with one more detail. Did the maid you saw turn left or right?
Let me think. Left.
And you're sure?
We definitely left.
Now let's take a look at the hotel map. If the killer took a left, they could have used the laundry chute to easily return the uniform back to the basement. That would also explain why Flawn reported finding her uniform on the floor.
Or she could have just used that as a hiding spot as well. Either way, this is where the game ends for you. There's no way in hell you are going to be able to pinpoint the culprit as one of my underlings. Sorry, but you are finished. Here.
You are right. I don't have any evidence suitable for accusing them.
So you admit it.
Because I'm not going after your pawns. I'm pointing my finger at you!
Why am I not surprised at all?
That certainly wasn't the reaction I was hoping for!
Why the long face, Mr. Wright? Did you perhaps expect me to break down and start screaming in panic, trying to desperately deny your outrageously asinine claim? I have no reason for that. Why? Because I didn't murder Ambassador Caliga. I have a watertight alibi for the entire day. And if that's everything your dramatic build-up amounts to, I have to say that I am disappointed. But do humor me. What points towards my guilt?
There's one thing that has been bothering me ever since we began this trial. Miss Prava, during the first day of the trial, you testified the following.
Instead, the team was stuck sitting at the headquarters doing nothing until I told them to ignore the orders and go protect the ambassador anyway.
Don't you find your team's timing awfully precise and convenient?
It was nothing more than a gut feeling, and it turned out to be right. That doesn't prove anything other than your failure as a lawyer.
Also, with your status, I'm quite sure it was possible for you to get insight in the hotel staff's schedule in order to plan the murder. All this court requires is for you to testify about your alibi. If it's as solid as you claim, I will admit defeat and the case is closed.
If that is what it takes to bring this trial to an end...
Here we go. Let's just see how well your alibi holds water, Miss Prava.
I had been made responsible for the ambassador's safety. That's why we made sure that the hotel was emptied, and all nearby buildings searched the days before.
What did you do to protect him on the day of the murder, then?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And don't you start celebrating that as suspicious.
What would you call it, then?
Did you forget the whole cause of the tragedy already? Let me remind you. I had been in touch with the ambassador earlier via letters to discuss the security necessary for his visit. However, he refused to have an armed escort.
He really didn't want any security?
I tried everything to persuade him, but he wouldn't listen. Ambassador Caliga didn't understand that there's a difference in being true to your ideals and just being a fool. It gave me a massive headache.
So where exactly were you that day?
I was sitting in my office, waiting for the worst. And then it happened. I heard the explosion and immediately called for the team to move in, while I was rushing for the hotel. I knew something was up.
Wait a second! Miss Prava, what you just said is a complete and total lie.
A lie?
There is absolutely no possibility that you could have heard the explosion to your office. In fact, the truth is that you could not hear the bang even outside the hotel, which in turn means that in order to hear the explosion, you had to have been inside the hotel walls when it happened.
But I... Hold on. Right. I made a little mistake. My apologies.
You made a mistake on the stand, Miss Prava?
Well, even I'm not perfect. Let me revise my testimony. I was at my office for some time, but left for the hotel. I was too worried about the ambassador, and was going to make sure nobody suspicious would enter the hotel.
That's not a small mistake you made, Miss Prava. That's perjury.
Do you have any idea of what kind of ordeals I had to go through after the corpse was discovered? Your mind would be a little shaken afterwards as well! Anyway, I stood guard by the hotel's entrance, alone.
Your squad didn't know about this?
No, I only called them in later for backup.
But that doesn't make sense either!
It doesn't?
If you had stood guard at the front door, you would have bumped into Overlord Laharl when he was entering!
No! That can't... Ah!
This is unlike anything I've seen before. Why doesn't she even try? You'd think she would have crafted a masterful web of lies to protect herself.
Miss Prava, your watertight alibi seems to be full of holes. You stop this mockery of justice at once!
But I remember it so vividly. The blast, echoing the halls.
What did you just say?
I mean...
Miss Prava, Did you just admit to being inside the hotel when the explosion happened?
No! I couldn't have been there. Where was I that day?
Are you pleading acute amnesia, Miss Prava? You seemed so confident before.
I just cannot remember anything.
What did Morpheus say again before? When the unexpected happens, you'll know it's time to play this card. If what I suspect is true, then this will help unlock the final piece of the puzzle.
One final question, Miss Prava.
Yes? What is it?
Does this symbol mean anything to you?
Crepuscule!
Mr. Wright, what are you doing to the Bronzeniusian?
I'm helping her remember. It's all clear to you now, isn't it, Miss Prava?
Why?
Your Honor, members of the jury, allow me to reveal the whole truth behind this tragic case. The murder of Grand Ambassador Aduro Kaliga was all orchestrated masterfully by a third party, a group of both angel and demon conspirators by the name of Crepuscule, whose goal is to start a war between the Netherworld and Celestia. It is their agents who have been inciting unrest and hate in Celestia, using the murder of Ambassador Kaliga as their fuel source. The success of their plan comes down to this trial. If the angry Celestian mob gets any more reason for an outrage, they will without a doubt overthrow Seraph Lamington. Without Lamington holding his people back, a war in a massive scale is imminent. After this long, destructive, and draining war, both nations will be left weak and vulnerable. In other words, ready to accept Crepuscule members as their leaders. As for Miss Prava, the ultimate truth is, you're nothing but a puppet, created for the sole purpose of murdering Ambassador Kaliga. All your memories, your past, all forgery.
No!
A forged letter from Aduro Kaliga was deposited into the Overlord's mailbox, asking him to meet the ambassador in his room at 12:30. This letter later disappeared, most probably in the same way as the fake Overlord's ring. You, Miss Prava, under the mental control of Crepuscule, went to the hotel with the dagger, the Overlord's ring, and a poison candy on you. There was nobody at the reception at the time, as the manager was in his office. So while Flan was doing the laundry, you stole her uniform and the master key. You then used the key to enter the ambassador's room and switch the candy. You then waited around the corner for the ambassador to be taken to his room. After his demise, you went back into the room, stabbed the body, and stuffed the ring in its hand. However, when you were leaving, there was an explosion in the kitchen. You ran around the corner, but the witness managed to catch a glimpse of you. You didn't run straight for the stairs, because you had to quickly return the stolen uniform back to the basement. The fastest way was through the laundry chute. Finally, you rushed out of the hotel and waited for Laharl to arrive. The grip on your mind was then loosened, and you proceeded to call backup without knowing what exactly happened a few moments before. It's ironic in a cruel way. You as the head investigator had the burden of solving this crime and bringing the killer to justice in order to save the fragile peace between the worlds. But each accusation, each piece of evidence that seemed to make the pieces of the puzzle fall into place, only took you further from the truth.
That cannot be! I refuse to accept!
You were used as a pawn in their plan, a piece that could be sacrificed after serving its purpose, and for that, I pity you. Now here we stand, in this courtroom, in a complete stalemate. The killer has been unmasked, yet in a way, they do not even exist. Miss Prava, what do you have to say to this court?
Does it even matter anymore? My whole life is a charade that has fallen apart before my very eyes. I am the tragic fool of this play. What does it matter what I have to say? These hands killed Ambassador Caliga, yet I was not the one controlling them.
Miss Prava, are you well?
Huh. I believe some congratulations are in order, human.
Who are you?
What's happening here?
I'm the great Archangel Volcanus, released from my punishment thanks to the efforts of my faithful followers.
You're the corrupt Archangel!
Corrupt? No, it is Flemington who is to blame. He could not see the beauty of a sinless world under a single ruler. He is a coward and a fool. He didn't even have the guts to kill me.
You murdered the Ambassador of Peace!
Did I? Or did she? His death will be the catalyst of a new world.
Bailiff! Seize her! Him!
Foolish old man. This is a mere puppet I am talking to. Your attempts of catching me are futile. And don't you see what a delicious situation we have on our hands here?
Either you accept your Pyrrhic victory and condemn this doll, or you send innocent demons to damnation. Either way, a decision must be reached here, and every option will end up in our triumphs. My grip on this puppet grows weak. The strings of deceit we used to control it have been cut. No matter, it can be discarded like the empty shell it is. I look forward to your decision, human.
My word, what is the meaning of this?
What?
I think the truth has reared its ugly head, Your Honor.
We cannot win.
What do you mean, Miss Prava?
It's useless. See, if an innocent Celestian is found guilty in this court, the insurrection will happen. And if I, the demon head investigator of Sessanesk, am found guilty, it will be just the same, for I was seen as one of the trustworthiest demons in all of the Netherworld. They won't care why I did it. It just proves that all demons by nature are evil, no matter how sweet or professional.
There's gotta be something we can do too! Some kind of loophole that we can use to prevent that!
Now this is highly irregular. A defense attorney trying to find a way to acquit a person who he just proved to have committed murder!
I know the law book inside out. We have nothing. If this court declares me not guilty, according to Lex Demonica number 1, your clients, Flan and Laharl, are guilty.
Your Honor, is there any way we could stop this trial?
There is a way, however, it is the death or disappearance of the defendant before a verdict is reached.
Wait, in other words, if Miss Prava dies?
I'm fine with that. After all, what good have I brought to this world in my short fake life?
That is not an option, Miss Prava!
Wait! There is one more! There is the breach of the fundamentals of the court system, such as requirements for the defense and prosecution.
I think I just got it! Miss Prava, what are the requirements for someone to prosecute in the Supreme Court of the Netherworld?
Demonstrated competence, approval of the Dark Assembly, and an age of majority!
Yes! I think it settles it.
Mr. Wright, would you care to explain?
It's very simple, Your Honor. Miss Prava is not eligible to prosecute because she's not of age. She looks and acts like an adult, but she's only a couple of months old at best.
Of course! How did I not realize that myself? Your Honor, because of my lack of age, it was not legal for me to prosecute in the first place. This has all been a mistrial all along.
This is quite correct. Well then, I do believe the court is heard enough, unless there are any objections.
No objections.
I'm keeping my mouth shut this time, Your Honor.
Very well. In light of these new facts, this court sees no reason to continue this trial. By the power invested in me as the temporary judge of the Supreme Court of the Netherworld, this court hereby declares this trial terminated and all accusations made. The accused, Overlord Lahara Kuchevskoy and Flode, will be released immediately, cleared of all charges.
And me?
You are free to go as well. I would suspect you have a lot of things to arrange. That is all. This court is adjourned.
Phew! An experience that was! My heart is still pounding!
You did it, Mr. Wright! Thank you so much!
I do have to admit, I was worried there for a moment.
And then you proceed to do that turnabout thing of yours. That was pretty cool.
So I suppose there will be a retrial later?
Yeah, and this time with the real culprit. With Volcanus' confession, I doubt they'll be coming after me and Blonde again. In any case, thank you for helping us. Lamington sure picked the right man for the job.
Speaking of Master Lamington, I wonder how things are in Celestia.
Better than you'd think.
Morpheus? How did you get in here?
Oh, after the changing of the guard, I kinda walked out. The new guy wasn't exactly too bright.
You want to guess twice who that might be?
Note to self. Don't trust Gordon with anything. Ever.
Volcanus' arrogance was his downfall. By his appearance through Judy, he revealed our existence thinking it wouldn't matter anymore. He was wrong. With the surprise ending to the trial, the Celestian uprising ran out of fuel at the most critical moment. Celestians may seem zealous, but even we stop to think when something like that happens. And most of us corpuscle henchmen are deserting the sinking vessel and trying to go into hiding. After all, now we have the combined forces of the Netherworld and Celestia hunting us down.
No, you fools! We come up with a new plan. Better plan. We'll seize the worlds yet. Come back. You can't abandon our cause. You traitors! Become God and I will lay my vengeance upon you. Curse you all! Curse you!
I really hope they catch Master Volcanus soon. He makes all angels look bad.
By the way, isn't it dangerous for you to be walking around like this?
Well, I politely offered Sessanesque my help in tracking down the rest of the conspirators. Of course there was an alternative, but let's not get into that. On that note, I should be going before they think I've fled. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Bye! Oh, and sorry for that whack to the head.
Maybe that was the bump I needed to start thinking straight again. Now, farewell.
I believe it's time for you to go as well, isn't it, Mr. Wright?
I think so. Yes.
Fine. Let's go to the portal then.
So, I guess this is farewell then.
Are you sure you want to go? We could use a vassal like you around.
Yeah, and you wouldn't even have to do the prince's chores for him.
I thank you for the offer, but I'd really rather go home. There are some very important people to me in there, who are probably already worried.
Well, if that's the only thing keeping you from us, we do have our ways to bring your friends over. I'm kidding, of course, but it's still kind of sad to see you go.
Yeah, we'll miss you a lot.
You've done a great service to the Netherworld and Celestia. We really can't thank you enough. But as a token of my gratitude, I hereby bestow you the title of Arch Attorney of the Netherworld.
Wow! Congratulations, Mr. Wright. That's awesome!
Congratulations, Arch Attorney.
Miss Prava? What are you doing here?
I don't think it's too much asked to come say farewell to the man who both destroyed and gave me my life. Like a phoenix, I too rose from the ashes of my past, reborn.
I'm happy that you see it that way, but what are you going to do now?
I resigned as the head investigator of Sessanesque for obvious reasons. All options are open for me, but I will likely apply for another position within the organization. The real culprit is still afoot. I'm going to show him what happens when you make a fool out of Judy Prava. I will become his worst nightmare.
Oh dear!
I almost pity you, man.
In any case, I will not keep you from returning to your loved ones any further. Take care, Mr. Wright.
You too, Miss Prava.
Before you go, here's just one last thing.
Huh?
The Arch Attorney title comes with a tax. It's about half of the fee we were intending to pay you.
Huh? Huh?
And using the portal over such long distances costs a pretty penny as well. I think it's only fair that you pay for the trip, since you're the one using it.
Huh? Huh? Huh?
So, in the end, according to my calculations, you owe us a couple of thousand hell.
I had this very familiar urge to scream.
Oh, I see what's coming.
Oh my, I can't wait!
Can't say you haven't earned it.
Huh. Once more? Well then, everyone, let's do this.
Well, that takes care of that. Moral of the story? If you need something done, kidnap a person to do it for you.
That's a good one. On a more serious note, I made a proposition to the Dark Assembly for a new, fairer court system. I have my reasons for not approving the last one.
Oh? What did they say?
Not much after I beat the crap out of them. It's good being an overlord.
Oh, how I love politics.
Ever since the trial, I've gotten into watching all kinds of courtroom dramas. I think I would make a great attorney. Super fallen angel maid attorney flown to the rescue! Evildoers everywhere, beware! Objection! Hold it! Take that! Mr. Wright left such a positive impact on me. I think I might even call him my new idol. Oh no! I just realized I forgot to ask for his autograph. Oh.
I've been trying to figure out this message I got from Jennifer and Thursday a while ago. Knowing Jennifer, it must be one of her puzzles to test my wits. Wish you were here. Wait! Now I get it! They're asking for my backup! Surely they must be in grave danger. Never fear. Captain Gordon, the Defender of Earth, and the finest cleaning equipment guardian in the Netherworld, is coming to save you! A daring rescue mission awaits. Danger, explosions, beautiful women. Such is the life of a hero.
So awesome! You're back, dude!
What are you two doing here slacking? There are customers waiting for their food!
But it's pretty day, dude!
It's not pretty day! Get back to work!
Ow! Did you remember to turn the gas off before we left? Uh-oh.
You incompetent idiots! You just earned yourselves another century of work each!
Dude, run!
Just wait until I get my hands on you both! I'll turn you into a pretty piñata!
Oh, I'm sorry, I was just thinking back to the curling match I went to see in the Netherworld before I left. It was quite amazing! I've never seen anything like it! Truly, curling is the sport of kings! Although I don't think playing curling on lava and with axes will pick up back home. Such a shame, really.
This idea's perfect. We're going to make tons of money.
Are you sure about this, boss?
Of course I am. Selling fake attorney's badges as memorabilia of the trial will make us so rich.
But don't they crumble after a while?
That's the whole beauty of it. Once they do, they'll have to come and buy another. I'm a financial genius. Look, there's a group of our old customers coming for more already.
I don't know, boss. They don't look too happy. And they're armed.
Nonsense. I bet they're just preparing to fight over who can get their replacement first.
Yes, I got back into Sassanesque despite all the hassle caused by the case earlier. We're doing great progress in tracking down the conspirators, especially since they were helpful enough to leave the most incriminating evidence lying around in our basement.
I always thought it was a dumb choice for a base of operations. We've already caught some big fish with the evidence, and a little help from yours truly.
The noose around Volcanus' neck is tight to me. We'll get him yet if it's the last thing I do. But enough chatter. We have work to do.
Right, miss. I just wish we could catch him soon. I'd like a break or two sometime in the future.
Finally, the dissonance of hate has quieted down. I can hear the birds again. It is time to let peace grow and prosper, just like Krzyzewski and I intended. Grand Ambassador Caliga died for the sake of peace. He will be deeply missed, but may he rest calmly, knowing that his memory was not tainted with the blood of the innocent. We truly are in debt of Phoenix Wright, a human, a lawyer, the devil's attorney.
Finally! I'm back home! My cell phone! Let's see. It's Maya!
Nick! Where have you been? I've tried calling you a million times and you weren't at the office either. Everyone's been looking for you.
I'm sorry, Maya, but I can explain. And boy, do I have quite a story to tell you.